Sam from Kavee. Welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be building a huge 6x2 with a stand. So that's a C&C cage by Kavee. That's the ones we're going to be building today. The 6x2s, they are probably the biggest you're going to find on the market. They are huge, so commercially incredibly very big. So the size of them altogether is going to be 210 centimetres lengthwise, so 2 meters 10, and we're going to have 70 centimetres gun widthwise. So whoosh, it's a big one. So if you've come to this video because you're building one with me, let's do this together. So it's a huge, brilliant cage. Up to 4 guinea pigs can live in here, so it's going to be a big old palace, and they're going to be super chuffed to have it. So if you do need help choosing your C&C cages, so if you're thinking, do I want a 6x2, do I need a 6x2 or anything like that, we do actually have a video where we help you choose what C&C cage, so a bit of advice, something like that. So check out that video if you don't know what you need for your guinea pigs and things like that. Right. Building time. So what you'll need for the entire 6x2 with a stand altogether is going to need 45 grids. So we have these modular grids here. They can be kind of slotted around for everything. So 45 of them all together, and we're going to have 58 connectors. So connectors are the little ones that are just going to connect all the grids together. They can be placed in every different kind of orientation, so they're super helpful. We've got a crisscross in the middle, and they've also got some underneath the flat top up there. So let's get cracking. We're going to start with the stand first. So for that one, we are going to need 21 connectors. So I've selected mine out of the 58, put them into little groups of 7, just so easy to count. And we're also going to need 17 grids. So we're going to start with the actual stand itself. Whether you've seen any previous videos before or not, with what we're going to start with, under the stand, we're going to do a H shape. So 3 of H shapes are going to be all together, and then we're going to do 1 I shape. Right now you're probably thinking, what? So I'm going to talk you through it as well, so don't worry. So we're going to start just by taking our first grid, and we're just going to connect the bottom. So we're just going to give it some little feet, really, so it can just kind of stand like that. So with a H, we're going to do 2 grids. So 2 like that. We're going to do 1 in the middle and 2 again. So it is just going to be a H. So what we're technically going to start off with is just writing hi to the floor, or to the cage really. Hi to anyone that comes in and sees your building. Just, hello, do you want to help me build a 6x2 C&C cage? Right, so I'll pop that one in there as well. So if you've not worked with C&C before, it's just kind of securely making sure that they're all connected, nice and secure. So what we're going to do is with the connectors as well, we're just going to focus with the bottom one. So you're going to kind of want to try and connect them in at the top as well, but that bit is going to come a little bit later because that needs a little bit of explanation. So right now, just placing the connectors, giving them little feet, and they're all going to be facing upwards, so flat on the bottom. And let's keep going. Right, so the 6x2, we need a lot of space for this one, so I'm just going to keep moving it around. And we're going to go up here. It's good to kind of get into the habit. I'm kind of doing it now as well, just kind of maybe keeping them all the same direction. I'm kind of going horizontal with my lines, so maybe it's a good idea just to get into that pattern as well. It's not super necessary, but I mean it's kind of a bit easier with the build and things like that, and it looks nicer and it creates a kind of sturdy part of it. So get into that pattern now. So, oh, I forgot my little feeties, haven't I? There we go. So, all together for this bit, we will be using 3 connectors per H. 6 connectors, 3 on each side. There we go. On the floor. And there we go. Okay, so there's our first H. So we're going to do 3 of those all together, but I'm just going to go on to the I next. So essentially the whole stand at the bottom is going to be H, I, H, H. I wish it was 2 high highs, but it's fine. You can get 1 high out of me. That's all we're going to do. So the I is just as simple as the H, actually probably the most simple. It's just going to be two grids with connected at the bottom, and that's it. That's all. And slide that in at the bottom there. So you're good to put a little bit of force on these connectors. Don't worry too much about breaking them. You're just going to kind of listen out for the clicks. You don't need to put a lot of force, but just enough so they kind of slot in nicely. And then as you're spacing, just kind of remembering to leave a little bit of space, because as the stand, the whole thing is going to kind of go like this, so 6 across. So a lot of space needed for this one. So now that you've kind of done your first H and your only I for the stand, there we go, we're going to carry on doing the other 2 H's. So I'm going to get on with that exact same principle as you've done for these ones, only doing the bottom connectors. So I'll see you in a second. So now that you've kind of just set up the stands just like this, just remembering to check that the connectors are all facing upwards and that you've spaced out in between, we are now going to go on to the next part, which is the flooring of the C&C cage. So we are going to need 12 more of the grids, 12 more of those, and we'll need another 21 connectors. So it would make it easier for you putting them into groups of 7 just to easily count them. That's what I've done. So what we're going to start off with first, this bit's quite important. I say quite, it's very important, so listen up. With the connectors, it's important now to get where the kind of orientations are going to go. So this is kind of the basis of the stand, so it's a little bit important. What we're going to do is, we're just going to focus on the insides of the cages first. That might not make any sense, but when I say the inside, I mean the bits that aren't on the edges. So we're going to have one here, one on the corners there as well, so both corners, on top of that one as well, and this corner. So we won't do them on the 2 outer ones because they are on the edge of the cage. So in the middle, we're just going to focus on 1, 2, 3, 4, those 5 parts. So I'm going to just get the first one, and I'm just going to put these ones flat. So they're going to be facing downwards if you're looking at the kind of where we put the feet last time. So the flat top is going to be on the top. And I'm just going to do one kind of connector at a time there. A little bit easier to kind of do these ones when they're in groups of 3, to kind of just slot one in, slot the opposite, and then you can put the other one in as well. So it makes it a little bit easier. And then once again, just kind of clicking those into place. So same with the other ones. Ooh. So those 5 are going to be put in. So you can do them with me if you like. Or you might be tons better than I am at it and just already be finished by now. If that's the case, you could just wait for me. That'd be really nice. So let's just put this there. 1, 2, and 3. 2, and on top of this one as well, because that's going to be kind of in the middle. I don't know how your eyes are doing at home, but mine's temperamental of whether it wants to stand by itself or not. So I'm being really careful with that one. And same again. 1, 2, and 3. Cool. So those ones are the only ones that are going to be flat top in this part of the cage. So only these ones will be flat. The rest of them are all going to be vertical. So they're all going to be facing kind of different directions. The best way that I kind of get to describe this part is that they're always looking inside the cage. So whatever edge they're on is the way that they're facing. So on this part of this part of the cage, they're going to be facing kind of away from you, flat top closest. On this part, they're going to be kind of facing in towards the cage. This kind of corner, it doesn't really matter what way they're facing as long as they're vertical, because we're going to be putting the cages kind of into that part. So you can decide, I'm going to keep them all facing that way, this one will face inwards, and the top ones are all going to be flat top facing away. So I'm now going to connect all of those ones, well not all of them, I'm going to do 2 at a time. So, excuse me grids, you're in my way. There we go. So I'm going to place one into here. Place that one in there as well. So 3 at a time. So there we go. We've got one of ours in there. What we're going to do now is, when we've always got 2 connectors, we're going to connect a grid. It's a little bit easier than kind of putting them on there and then trying to ridge it around, because once they're in 3, they're not really going to budge. So it's always good to do 2, and that way you've got that little bit more flexibility in movement. So I'm going to put 1, slot it in there, click it in there too. So that one's already kind of, you've got that little bit movement-wise. So vertical, facing upwards. We'll face that one in there too. And now we can move it around a little bit more and place it inside there. I spoke over that click then, but that was a nice click. And same again. So facing vertical, doing the same. So I'm essentially just going to be doing that the whole time, so 12 times, or 11 more times on top of the flooring of the cage. You can do it with me now. I'm going to be super quick. Well, I say super quick, I won't be, but the fast forward will be. I'll be doing it probably just the same time as you will be. So we're going to do it kind of like this. So next one will be here, and then we're just going to go down to up time, like just each time. So I'll see you in a minute. Kind of used all your grids and your connectors, here is a really good important time to just check that your connectors are definitely facing the right ways. I'm like eagle eye right now double checking, but so making sure the outside ones are all vertical and those 5 ones are the only ones that are flat, because the next thing we're going to do in the next section, we are going to build the actual cage of the C&C cage. So your stand is complete, so well done. Get a drink if you need it. And I'll see you in a minute. So now that we're kind of onto this stage, the next thing we're going to do is the cage of the C&C part of it. So we're going to need 16 more grids and 16 more connectors. So, right, this part's the easy part, I think. So what we're going to do is we are literally, I'm not going to start here because it's right in front of me. That's rude. I'm just going to start here. So where the vertical ones are, so the connectors on the edges, you can just slot them in to the tops. To the flat bits there, so it'll just stand by itself. We're going to go around and we're just going to do that by each one, and then just connecting the tops as well. So when you actually connect it now, whoopsie, you can put them flat facing now. Ooh, there we go. So 2 on there. We'll kind of put one in first, and then we can line up before the other, and listen for those clicks. So now that's quite sturdy by itself. So I'm just going to go around now, each kind of edge, slot it in, connect it, so grid by connector. Let's go. Sweating because I am. So now that the edges are all up on the cage, all the connectors are kind of on, double checking again. Doesn't really matter what way they're kind of facing, but just to kind of give a completed look, I'll put mine facing downwards so the flats are on top. The next part of the stage is adding the coroplast sheets. So we're going to move our cage out of the way so I can show you how to fold them properly. So just make sure you've got enough space just to now get ready to fold some 3x2 coroc sheets. So we've got your cage out of the way, we've gone to a different space. What we've got is we've got 2 coroc sheets here, so this is for our 6x2. So for this one, we actually have 2 of the 3x2 sheets here. So what we'll do is we'll start folding those ones. So I'm just going to pop one out of the way just for a second. Hiya! So when you get these ones, you kind of have little kind of almost like rims that you can see where you need to fold. So just get those ones and just kind of fold them down. As easy as that. So just kind of making them a little bit more flexible, because right now they're very robust. So use a little bit of weight just to kind of really fold those ones over, because you really need to kind of fold them. And you will have noticed as well on the edges, these ones are feature locks. So little bits in there that you can kind of keep to securely keep them folded, and that's what we're going to do next. So no tape, no glue. So lift it up a little bit. What we're going to do is we're going to go from the tab from the outside. So we'll lift that up, feed it through where the slot is. Whoopsie. And then you can pull it through. There we go. Good trick kind of there is when you feed it through, just hold on to the outside. Otherwise you'll let go of it just like I did. So same again on the other side. So what we're not going to do for this one is, with a 3x2 cage, usually you would fold all 3 of them and that would be it, or sorry, all 4 of them and that would be all. But for this one, we're actually going to leave the 2 there, because when we put it in the 6x2, they're actually going to overlay on top of each other. So as long as 2 corners are folded, and then what we're going to do with this one is that we're going to fold the opposite 2. So the exact same thing again, of just kind of folding over. We're pros at this now. This part's fine. This is like the relaxation part of a workout. This is like the bit where it's like, oh, cool, yeah, I can do this bit. Cool. So just place it on the top if you want to. And same again. So we're going to get the little tabs from the outside in, feed through and pull through. And same again, feed through, hold on to it. And there we go. So it's going to kind of sit like this inside the cage. It will obviously with the cage kind of guide just like that. So it'll kind of hold itself up. So what we'll do is we're going to bring the cage back and we'll place it inside the cage. So now that you've kind of brought your cage back, or you're kind of around it anyway, we're now going to add the coroplast into the cage. So we can just kind of line it up with the corners. Woo! One of them's going to go on the bottom and then one of them's just going to go on the top. But just make sure that they're going to fit in the corners kind of thing. So this might happen because obviously they're not quite full. So just guiding it down. Ooh, there's a little tab there sticking up. That will happen to you as well. You see? There we go. And just making sure that they're inside the cage and not really hanging out of it. There we go. And put it in the corners. There we go. Okay, and the other one is just going to go the exact same way, but just on the other side. So let's bring that one down as well. Oh, that one was much smoother. Loved that one. Yes. Cool. And then just making sure that they're kind of just folded down and it's all on the ground level. You can even by this point just check around the front and just see that it's kind of how you want it. And obviously because they're overlaying each other, this little bit will stick up just a tiny bit, but nothing to make anything look disastrous. But, sigh of relief. We're done. So, this is the 6x2 with a stand. There's no lid or anything like that on it, so you can leave it like this if you absolutely want to. Additionally though, if you would like to add a loft and a small lid onto the left side of the cage, or the right side, whatever side you prefer, then you are more than welcome. And we're also going to add a full lid. So just stick around. What we'll do is we'll just introduce those and how you can do those ones as well. So additionally, there's also the option to kind of fold your coroplast sheets both in the 3x2s, so folding all sides, all 4 corners, as you can see, and that way it kind of slots right in there and it creates almost like a little compartment, almost like a little bridge the guinea pigs can kind of hop over and things like that. There's a little bit of weight, you know, we all need to do it, so we can do that for our guinea pigs as well. And it also kind of slots in that little bit easier, but it's completely up to you whether you want to fold all 4 corners or just fold the 2 and keep it as an open space. So we are here now because we're going to add a loft and a lid to our 6x2. So what we'll need extra for these ones, we are going to need 2 more of the normal grids that we have, so the 2 kind of just normal ones we've been working with. And introducing, we have the door hinges, what we call them. So we have hinged edges on this side, and that is actually going to create the lift. So whatever side you are putting it, making sure that this part is on the edge, because that's where the lift is going to go. We'll come along. We have 4 more connectors. We know these by now. You've done the 6-2, you know what they are. And then to actually secure them, because we're going to put them halfway into the cage. This is to ensure that the ramp isn't too steep for the guinea pigs. So halfway we will securely them with cable ties. I just said securely them, but we will secure them with cable ties. So we need 5 of those ones. So the first thing we are going to do is we're going to connect our 2 normal grids together. So we'll just kind of grab those ones, we'll get them just whatever corner you like, whatever one, and just kind of securely placing those ones in. And there we go. There we go. So I'm kind of putting my pressure on the outside part of it and trying not to put pressure on the inside just in case you cause any damage. But now that they're in, what we're going to do is we're going to try and fit that in there. We're going to place it around halfway up the ramp, sorry. So just there, we're going to place it around there. So what we'll do is we're going to bring you in nice and closely, and we're going to use cable ties. So it's quite finicky, so you'll have to pay attention for this part. So come over here. So from the bottom of the cage, you're just going to count 7 upwards. So 7 is a good level for about halfway, and that way the ramp isn't going to be too steep. So with the cable tie, we're going to go through, we're going to go round, kind of getting both corners and back out the other side. So through, down and round, and you can tighten that one up there. So that was the kind of trickiest part because you have to hold it with your other hand as well. So now that that one's secure, that's the best one to start with, you can now get on with the rest of the corners. So same principle, going through, down, round on the corner and back outside there. And just tightening up as much as the cable tie will kind of go. And then going on to the 3rd corner. So it's good to start with a straight line with kind of adjacents together. It just makes it easier for when you're actually trying to lift the cage or lift the loft later on. There we go. So now we can go on to one of the corners. And it's exactly the same thing again. So just lift up with the other arm and just making sure that it's the same level. So through, round, out, and there we go. So when you get it like that, the best thing to kind of do, there we go, is just to get the corners all done. And that way the other end will be super simple now. There we go. And making it super secure as well. And last one. So same as before, through the gap, we're going to go round and down, grabbing the corner, back out the other side to tighten it up with the cable tie. And there we go. All done. So now that you've kind of got the loft in a secure place just there, what we're going to do is we'll just have a little tidy up. So we'll just go round and just cut the cable tie ends, unless you want to keep them. Don't know why, but if you do, I won't judge. But I'm just going to cut these ones off. There we go. It looks really smooth with the black colours because it just kind of all blends in. I love that. There we go. So now that we've kind of got those ones, you can discard of those ones and get rid of your scissors. We are now actually going to move on to the lid of the loft. So we use a lid on this level because, as we know, it's a little bit high up and you don't want your guinea pigs to kind of climb up and get out. So we're going to have a little safety lid here for this one. So we'll start off by using the door hinged ones, door grids. And we're just going to place them into the far edge ones, so one corner and the middle. You're going to be tempted here to kind of put it inside, but if you do, you're not actually going to get the lid. So if you want to keep that one out, we'll use one of the connectors and we're going to face it upwards. So just like that. And that way the connectors can actually kind of stay flat onto each other, and that's where it's good, so it adds the lid to it. So it's a good little thing for you as well to remind you that, oh yeah, that bit goes up. So let's do the other one. So exactly the same thing. So into one corner and then into the middle. There we go. Ooh, that was satisfying. And then we can place another connector in the middle to just secure those ones that little bit more. And the one there on the edge. So they can kind of sit up together. And there we go. So there's the lid there for you. So now that you kind of got your Koroc sheets ready, you'll see that these ones are a bit different from the bases before. So what we'll need to do, we have one here for the actual loft and we have one that's the actual ramp. We've gone for black because it matches the one that we did earlier. So same again as before, we are just going to fold up the little tabs. As you're kind of folding, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, something's a little bit different here. It is. So that bit is for our actual ramp. So the good thing to do is remind you now, I have done this many times before, is to keep this part on the left. So this little part where the actual ramp is going to connect, keep that on your left side. Because if you do it on the right, it's not going to work and it's not actually going to properly fit into it. So, right, let's go. We have a little bit of a tabbies here. This ones are super easy to fold. That's like really great. So we're going to just place them inside. So same as before, just kind of feeding through and then pulling through from the other side. For this one actually, you probably could just slot them in there, go quite easily through. So you've kind of matched up the rounded sides together. They're going to be fine. And for this time only, there we go, so we can create a little right angle there. We are usually, as I said before, we usually go from the outside into the slot. This time, the only reason why we are going to go inside out is so it can actually securely keep the ramp in. So inside, same as before though, you can just still feed it through and pull it out the other. So now that is kind of securely in its place, and now we forget that we ever did that, and now it's going to be outside in again. So we're going to just do the rest. So from the outside, get the tab, feed it through, and then pull it all the way. Oosh. She made it difficult for herself doing it on her left side. My left side isn't my strong side, my right side is definitely my strong one. There we go. Woohoo! And same again. No, not from the inside. Outside, feed it through, and pull it. And it should go quite nicely, it will glide quite smoothly inside. So you won't have to use too much brute force with it. So there we go, it will kind of sit like that, and the ramp will go down very nicely. So what we'll do now is we'll put that back into our cage where we've secured the loft ground already. So we have now got the loft and the ramp, so we're just going to place that onto the loft bit there. Whoop. There we go, and it should just kind of exactly like that slot right in really nicely. So, and we can close the lid now as well. So there we go. So that is the 6x2 with one loft and a lid. You are also more than welcome to add a loft again on this side. Gives a bit more dimension to the actual cage, so that's a really good idea if you want to do that. What we're going to do next though, if you have cats or dogs or any young children or anything like that, we're going to actually show you how to do a full lid. So if you need the full lid, stick around. If you don't, ta-da, well done! So if you are here to build a full lid, I'm hopefully going to try and talk you through it as best as I can. It's just worth mentioning that we have taken the safety lid away from the ramp just for the demonstration of doing a full lid. Never take that bit off if you do have the guinea pigs and everything ready in there. So only take that off when your guinea pigs are out of the cage. So for the full lid, we are going to need 4 of the more door grids. So 4 door grids all together. And we're also going to have, I believe, 8 of the normal grids. So, because of the 6x2, it's such a big cage, the only kind of part of the lift that we're doing, or the lid should I say, is a 4x2 lid kind of thing. So we're actually going to have to fix some grids on both sides. That is because if we do a 6x2 lid, it's not very robust, it's quite unsturdy, and we don't want to cause any damage. So the highest that will go is a 4x2, sorry, with a lift there, lid, I keep saying lift, lid. So what we're going to do is, we're going to focus just on the bits that will be fixed first, and then I'll kind of go into more information when we're actually doing the lid. So we're going to do the fixed parts, and we'll need the normal grids. So what we're going to do is, on both kind of sides of the 6x2, we're just going to place it inside. So we're going to put it in the corners first. Just like so, and you're also going to be kind of tempted to, oh actually no you can, no mind, ignore me. I'm so used to doing the lids that I was like, you don't want to put them in, but you do, put that in, because that is fixed. So we'll do the same on this one as well. So just connecting in the ones that you've already done, one at a time, makes it that little bit easier. And we'll do the same here. So for this one, we're actually going to be facing upwards, or actually either way. it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to do it facing downwards actually. So I'm going to do flat top facing up. There we go. There we go, yes. So now that I've realised, I'm kind of like talking myself through it as we're going through it, but now the connector, I've actually put it facing downwards so the flat weight is on top. That way when the lift or when the lid is going to go up, we can actually rest the other side of the connector on top of it. So that one in the middle is going to be facing downwards. Ignore what I just said earlier. I'm talking myself through it the way you're kind of like, what am I doing? So we're going through it together, we're a team. So we're now going to do the other side exactly the same as what we've done. So getting 2 more grids, and we're just going to put those ones in there. So just connecting in one at a time, remembering that it's just not too flexible when you've already put 2 corners in. So just trying to be careful that you don't actually damage the cage. And same again, 1 corner at a time. Perfect. So we're going to get another grid as well, so another connector, and facing downwards, so flat top on. There we go, flat on top. There we go. So now that we've got the 2 fixed ones, we can actually now put all of our attention onto the actual lid itself. So all of the hinged grids, so the door ones that we call door grids, they are going to go on this side. This is so because the hinge parts can go inside the connectors, they can actually do the lift, and the other parts, so all the other grids that we have left over are going to go into this side. So there's a big lift that we can actually grab there. So I'm going to start by just putting this one in here. So same again into those parts. You're going to be tempted to try and put that into there. Don't do it. I've done it so many times. So we're going to get another connector and we're going to rest it so it's kind of on top almost. So we just put it there already, connect that into that corner, and that's where it's going to be. So it's going to wait there, waiting to be connected to the other one. So there is going to be the lift. But we're going to do that a few more times. I'm going to connect one of the normal grids here so you can kind of see how it will look. So we'll get another grid here, placing it into the ones that's facing upwards, never down. Oh, it's the other way around, isn't it? There we go. So just clicking that into place like before. Same again, don't put them in there. Get the 2. So we're only doing upwards from now. So get that one. There we go. And the same again. You can kind of see at this part, they're like, connect me at the bottom. So let's do that as well. So still facing upwards. There we go. So that's kind of the first 2 that we've done here. So they're going to do a nice lift like so. Oh, sorry grids. And we're going to do the same thing again. So you can do 1 door grid at a time and 1 normal grid, and we're just going to keep going like that. So same thing, connectors always facing upwards, and I'll see you in a second. Okay, that was like just as like mind consuming for me as it was for you as well. So there we go. You've got the 4x2 lid there, well technically on the 6x2 cage, but a 4x2 lid, the 2 fixed panels there as well, and it opens up really nicely. So well done. That is now it. So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of decorate the cage now, and I'll kind of just see you in a moment. So here is everybody, this is the 6x2 on a stand, done. Well done. I've had a really nice time building it, and I hope you have as well. So hopefully I helped you get through it to the end. Please let us know if you need any more advice or any more help in the comments, so we'll try and help you out as much as we can. But this is what it looks like when it's completely decorated and little guests inside. Hi Minnie. You're going to say like, this is huge. That's fine. So obviously it goes without saying this one is absolutely ginormous, so remember that it's up to 4 guinea pigs in there, or if you just really want to spoil 2 guinea pigs, absolutely go for it. But this is all the accessories that you can kind of get ideas from. We have our storage boxes underneath as well, so everything that you can see here, fleece liners, accessories, boxes, all of it is available on our website, so please do check it out. We'll leave the link in the description box. Don't forget to subscribe, tons more videos coming up for you, so thanks so much for watching. Bye!